There's really not a one size fits all as far as fencing goes. Some of the stuff that's really good for chickens obviously is not good for cows or sheep, and then some of the stuff that's okay for sheep isn't good for cows. So you really need to have a few different, types of fencing in order to be efficient. The problem with fencing too is it always needs maintenance. It always needs repair. I've had the deputy sheriff here pounding on my door at 2 o'clock in the morning before, saying my cows were down there on the lake on the ice at a mile away. and then they're always out at the worst possible time. You could be away somewhere, and then the cows are out, and so that's one of the things you got to consider too. Is your animals are probably going to get out, no matter how good your fencing is. They eventually get out somewhere. Sometimes I'll get cows, and they won't test the fences anywhere. They'll just accept them, and sometimes if it's just a little bit loose, if that post maybe broke off at the bottom and I didn't catch it, they'll knock the whole fence over, and they'll be out. Sometimes you get a moose will come through and take out 5 or 6 fence posts and 6 strands of barbed wire like it was, thread, and you get this big mess. And you didn't know because it's down back in one of the back fields. It happened, overnight or something, and then next morning you wake up and your cows are on your front lawn or somewhere. Then you get equipment, cost and maintenance. You have to be kind of good at fixing stuff, especially if you get old stuff. And even if you get new stuff, everything breaks. And the older stuff is easier to work on. The newer stuff, you can kind of figure it out sometimes, but a lot of times you can't. So there's trade-offs as far as equipment goes. And sometimes it's reliable, sometimes it's not. I grow enough to support myself, or how basically what I do is I raise enough different animals so that the meat and eggs that I keep for myself is free minus my labor. And that's just something you figure out over time, like how much is too much, how much is enough. So what it ended up being for me at this point was basically 2 cows in, 2 cows out. So I've got two calves, and then I've got 2 that I'm finishing off to sell, and we'll keep one and sell one. And the money I generate from selling that one basically pays for the hay and feed for both of them, and also covers the processing fees. So buy one, sell one. It works out. The math works out pretty well, as long as you just keep abreast of your expenses, because otherwise you may end up in the hole. You may end up, subsidizing somebody else's beef. So you want to be careful about that. Same thing goes for lamb. We have 9 sheep this year, and so we've got 6 ewes. 3 of them will be able to reproduce this year, and then 3 more will be able to next year. So what I do with those is either keep the lambs and sell them later on as meat, or I sell them right off at the get-go. I found that it's basically a wash, whether I sell the lamb at 8 weeks old, or I keep it all summer and drop it off at the processor and sell it for meat. So labor-wise, it really is cheaper just to have the lambs and then at 8 weeks sell them. But people do like to buy lamb from me, so I do raise a few a little bit longer. But really, as far as money goes, it's an absolute wash. There's no extra money generated because I've kept that sheep, 6 or 7 months longer. I've fed it grain, I've cleaned its feet, I've trimmed its hooves, I've given it shots, whatever. It's just one of those things. So farming is one of those things that I really like. I like being outside. I like the animals. I like the manual labor. Unfortunately, with migraines from being over in burn pits, there's a lot of days where I just don't feel that great, and some days I just get really depressed. Why do I do this? But days like this, when it's really sunny out and it's nice, and I'm home and I'm outside working with my animals, it just really feels good, and it's good. It's good for me. So I do farming for the intrinsic rewards, because days like this, it just feels nice to be outside. I'm with the animals. I've actually kind of struggled. What's the point of this video? And you may have asked yourself that too. And as a disabled veteran, I just find that I can look around and say, this is all stuff that I built. I obviously didn't build the buildings, but I've kept them up. I've remodeled some things and updated a lot of stuff. So it keeps me busy. It gives me something to exercise my mind and my body. So this video is more about how I've just taken this old family farm and kind of rehabbed it into a place of solitude and therapy for me as a disabled veteran, where I still feel like I can do something productive with my life, without just, being confined to the house, which I think I would probably rather be dead if that was the truth. So I'm going to keep doing this until they probably take me out feet first. So it gives me connectivity to my past. It gives me something to do to be quasi-productive. I like old tractors. I like going to tractor pulls. I like a lot of stuff, and I just do what I can do, and that's about all I think anybody can do, really. But the point of the video that I decided was, why do I do it? Why do I still do it? Why would anybody do it? Well, you don't do it for the money. You do it for intrinsic rewards, and also for as much of your own food as you can get. And there's nothing better than meat you raised yourself, fruits and vegetables you raised yourself too. Morning, guys. makes. Had quite a bit of wind and rain the other day, so it must have knocked that branch off that elm tree. It's an American elm. Can't believe it's still alive. Still 2.7, 2.8. Something's grounded out that way. But it's still 8,800, so I wonder what's going on over there. It's got a ground on it. Something. To go walk further than I thought. I thought I figured it out where it was touching the fence there, but it must be another place. Next week I'll let you out on this pasture over here. You gotta wait one more week. One more week. It's almost annoying sometimes when you want them to go somewhere. Like, I know people say, oh, you retired at 44. Must be nice. It was a little more complex than that, really. People think, you retire at 44, kicking back in a lawn chair somewhere. That's not really what happened. I needed some kind of structure. I needed to figure out what was going to happen next. And this is how it worked out. Raising animals and doing the farm kind of gave me a structure and a lifestyle that fit for us. What? For me, it was never about the money.